Okay, this is in response to a question I had from a student who wanted to make uh, round pictures or images all the same size. So initially, what they were trying to do was make a text box here, or not a text box, but let's see, a box that would hold a picture. And let's go. Let's bring in some blue lines here to begin with. So a half inch. So right down the middle would be 4. So we're assuming that this is a 2-column design. We'll just bring some in here to give ourselves a point of reference. And so this is kind of arbitrary, but let's say that we wanted a box here, and we'll make a new layer, and we'll just fill that with light color, and then hit Control D to deselect. Now, if I wanted multiple ones of those, I would just select it and then slide it down into the new layer, or I can right-click and go to duplicate layer. And now I've got 2, and I can slide that over, and I could do that as many times as I'd like. But let's say now that we wanted a circle in here. I'm going to place a picture real quickly. Let's just say that we want these apples, but it's obviously in a rectangle. I'm going to resize it to generally the size that we want, but want this to just be a circle in here. So I could do this a bunch of different ways. I'm going to show you a couple ways. I could start off with an ellipse, and I'm going to start basically in the middle here. I'm going to hold the Shift key down and the Alt key down. That way it's drawing from the center, and I want this picture to be about this big. Okay, so then I might have to go and modify the picture, but this is kind of a little bit difficult. But let's say that I want this shape over and over again, and I got it the right size. Now I want to put a picture inside. I want to save that size so I don't have to keep redrawing it. I go to Select, Save Selection, and then I can say Circle. Now the nice thing about that is I can hit OK, and I can deselect it, and I can go back to that selection, go to Select, Load Selection. I can look down here and drill down and go to Circle, and there it is again. Now if I need to, I can when I do this, I can move on over here in a minute. I'll show you that in just a second. So let's say that I wanted this picture right here. I know that my apples are a little bit too big, so I'm going to Control T. Oh, I got to do Control D, get rid of that circle, but it's still there, remember. So I can hit Control T and make this a little bit smaller, maybe bump it up, then go back to Select, Load Selection, go to the circle, hit OK. There's my circle. Now I want to get rid of the outside, so what I need to do is I need to hit the inverse. So if I hit delete right now, first of all, I can't do it. I can't delete anything because this is a placed shape or placed picture, which means it has a link to the original file. So I need to break that link by right-clicking, going to Rasterize Layer. Then if I delete right now, it's going to delete the inside. I don't want that. So I need to do the inverse, so I can go to Select Inverse or Shift Control I. Now that selects everything else, even those clears out here, but it's on this one layer, so I'm just going to erase whatever's out here on that one layer, which there's nothing. I can hit delete, and there's my object. Now that's probably maybe the simplest, but it's kind of the most destructive way. Now I can move this around, and let's say I want to place another object, and I want to have the same size circle. So I go to Select, Load Selection, go to the circle, hit OK. Now that happens to be right here where my other apple was, but I can move that by going to the selection tool, move it over to where I want it. Do the same thing. I go to select, inverse. I select everything else. Can't delete because it's a placed object, so I need to right click and rasterize a layer. Now I can hit delete. And now I have those two circles, two images exactly the same size. So all because I was able to save the selection. Okay, now there's another way to do this, and probably gives you a lot more flexibility, although maybe a little bit more complex here. So let's I made a duplicate layer. Let's come down here, make another duplicate layer, put it over here. Let's do the same thing. We'll go to File, Place again. I'll place this in here. This gives me a lot of flexibility now. So I can put this in here. Really, I don't really care about how big it is at all right now. I am more concerned about the circle, so I'll draw the circle about the size I want it. I can always modify that circle after I've done it by going to Select, and this can be done in either of these techniques that I've just shown you. I can go to Select, transform the selection, and then I can either hold the Shift key down, I can make it bigger, I can make it smaller. But whatever I do, I still want to do like I did in the first example. I still want to save that selection. So I'm going to go to Select, save the selection. I'm going to name this Circle 2 right now. Now, the nice thing about this is we don't have to inverse anything, and we can still do it on a placed object. We don't have to rasterize it, which gives us a lot of flexibility. So maybe I don't want this these apples to be quite this big, but I can change that in a minute. So I have that layer selected, my apple layer selected. I have my selection, and then I hit this little tool right here. It's called a mask. And a mask is just that. It just covers things up, but it doesn't destroy anything. So just like a mask that you would put over your face. It doesn't destroy your face. It just covers it up and only reveals parts of it, like maybe parts of your eyes or parts of your mouth or something like that. So now, if I want to adjust this, notice, and I'll zoom in a little bit here. You can see that there is a white outline around that. That's the mask. If I click on the image, it has a white border around it. Now, if I unlink these, I can click on my image, hit Control T, and I can resize that image. If I want it to be really big, I can. I can also select the mask. Now, I don't want to do that because I want these all to be the same, but in another application you might want to. I hit Control T, and now I'm going to just adjust the mask. I don't want to do that now because I want these all four to be exactly the same size, or at least these two. So that's kind of a nice thing about a mask. It's still, the picture is still there. You didn't actually delete anything. So if you want to resize it, you can. Then now you have to be careful though, because you want to make sure that you're linking these back together. Now, once they're linked, I can move them as a group. If I have it unlinked, now I can move that picture behind the mask, or I can move the mask, but not both of them. So I want to make sure that I'm linking it when I go to actually move things around. Okay, so that mask is really a nice feature. So I'm going to do that again. I'll go place this one over here. Really doesn't make any difference what size it is at the moment. I'll just put it in there nice and big. I'm going to load that selection. That was circle 2. I'll bring that back over. I can't, now if I use this tool, the move tool, then I'm just actually going to cut what was here. I don't want to do that. I just want to move my selection, and that I have to go back to this circle template, or the circle marquee. Now I go right here, place it anywhere. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference at the moment. Then go to the mask. Now I can do my editing. I can unlink this. I can click on my image, Control T. I can resize my image to what I want it to be. I could resize my mask if I wanted to, which I don't want to. I'm going to link them back up so I can move them wherever I want. Okay, now the advantage of doing this is too, we can, I don't know if it's an advantage over anything, but it's just another function you can do, is I can double click out here and I can go to layer styles and I could put a stroke on it. I can change the stroke. I could change the color of the stroke. Maybe I could pick one of these colors in here. That's kind of ugly, but let's do it just for this purpose. I could put a drop shadow on. And remember, just because you can doesn't mean you should, but I'm just showing you some of the functionalities that we can use to kind of dress things up. But this is the key. Select, save the selection. That way you can repeat that same size. Hopefully that's helpful.